Hey everyone, welcome to a quick XNA Game Studio tutorial on how to do simple animation using a sprite sheet. Just to get started, I'll show you the sprite sheet I'm going to work on getting a simple walk animation. So we have kind of like 2D RPG SNES style character, and it's a 4-frame animation of walking right. So what we're going to do is get this drawn to the screen, and then we can work out how we're going to pick out each frame and play it. Because really what we want to do is play this one, then play this one, so on, and then we're going to get this looping as well. So when it hits here, we start back at the start, and it just keeps going forever while we're walking right. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, we need to add that picture to our project. So go to the content, add an existing item, and that was called right anim. Okay, so with that added, let's add it as a texture. It's a texture 2D. We'll call it right walk. Right walk's quite a good name. It's quite obvious. So then we want to load the content. So let's see. We called it right walk, so we want to load it as a texture 2D type. And we're going to add an asset name here. The asset name is the file name but without the extension. You see right here, asset name right anim. So just add that in. And at the moment we just want to draw it, so let's call the sprite_batch.begin method, and every begin's got to have an end unless you're the writers of How I Met Your Mother. And sprite_batch.draw. So what texture we got? We got the right walk, we had that as a texture. Destination rectangle, so that's just where we're going to draw the sprite. So we have to declare it as a new rectangle, and that has 4 parameters. It's got an x, a y, x coordinate, a y coordinate, width, and a height, which are all integers. So we want it to be, say, 100 pixels from the left, 100 pixels from the top. The width. Oh, that's a good point actually. With animations, it's always good to know the attributes of the image. So let's see. You can see that the width is 128 pixels. This is for the whole image, by the way, and the height is 48 pixels. Okay, so we can clearly see that these frames look like they're going to be roughly the same size. So it's an easy calculation. 128 divided that by 4 frames, you've got 32 per frame. So the 0 to 32 coordinates would be the first frame, 32 to 64 coordinates would be the second frame, so on, so on. This is actually very important because this will probably drive our logic. For this simple tutorial anyway. We can get the width by calling the texture 2D dot width property and get the full one, but at the moment we'll just use magic numbers and just put them in there. What I mean by that is we could just put right walk dot width, and I would get the same number, but at the moment we'll just call it explicitly 128 48. And the last attribute is the tint. We don't want one, so let's put white. Now all of that should just draw the whole image to the screen. Yeah, so 100 chord, I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen, you can't see that. 100 pixels from the left and 100 pixels from the top, and then we can see the whole image. That's fine, but we don't want that, we want an animation. So let's see, let's break it down. So we have 4 frames, each of them's 32 width, the y is always going to be 48. So how do we do that? Well, the draw method has the draw has an overloaded method with called a rectangle source rectangle. Now this can be null, and if you do put null here, that will just do the exact same and draw the entire texture. So again, that's fine, but it's not what we want. So we want to create a rectangle. Now remember, the source rectangle defines which part of the sprite of the image we're going to draw. So since we want to start on the first frame, it's going to be the x coordinate is going to be 0 and the y coordinate is going to be 0, and the width of one frame is going to be 32, and height is going to be 48 because we want to draw the whole height. So now that should just draw this part here up to 32, right about here, to 32 frame. So that part should be drawn. Let's see if that's what's happened. Ah, yes, it is what's happened, but I did make a forgot to change something here, and that's the destination rectangle. This is going to draw that one frame, but it's still going to draw it to the destination rectangle, which is going to be 128 width and 48 height. So we need to change that to 32 as well. And that draws it as it should. So now we've got one frame. Now we want to draw the second frame, the third frame, the fourth frame, go back to the first frame. So this is the important part. If we were to write it down step by step, it's pretty straightforward. We want to start here. Because it's an animation, we probably want it to be based on time. So once like say half a second, a third of a second has passed, we want it to set the next frame. Same again, set the next frame. Same again, set the next frame. And then here we could do a test to see if we're on the last frame. If so, set it back to 0 and start from the start and just keep repeating that. So to do that, let's clean this code up a little bit. We want to change these into two variables, source rectangle and destination rectangle. So let's declare two rectangles at the top here. So we've got a destination rectangle which we'll call dest_rect and a rectangle called source rect. Okay, now the destination rectangle, we're not really going to want to update that, so we just want to take this out here, put it in, but we still have to declare it. But let's just initialize it at the start of when the program's run. So that's that taken care of. Now the source rectangle we don't want to declare in here because we want it to update so that it can update each frame. So we're going to want to put in the update method. So the source rect is going to equal this part. Let's substitute that for the variable. And do that here. So that shouldn't change anything. It should the exact same thing should happen if we've done everything correctly. Yes. Okay, now we've already discussed that we want it to go to, after some time has elapsed, that we want the frame to be added on. So we need to declare a few more variables. So let's say first of all, let's declare a float called elapsed. So we'll keep count of our elapsed time. And we also want, say, a delay of, I'm just going to put a random number in there just now, 200f. And we also want to keep count of the frames, so that's going to be an integer, and we're going to declare that. Let's set it at 0. So with these three variables, we'll use these in our update method to do the logic we were talking about. So first of all, we want to find out what the elapsed time is. So the elapsed time is very easy with Game Studio. We just take the game time parameter from there, and we use the elapsed game time total milliseconds. So that's basically going to update the elapsed value with how long it was since the last kind of tick, last kind of update. So we're going to want to cast that to a float. Okay, so now we've got that. Now the logic was if the elapsed time is greater than or equal to the delay, we want to update a frame. So that would be, well, actually, we also want to check to see if we're on the last frame. So we've got 4 frames, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if we're equal or greater than the frame number 3, we're going to want to go back to frame 0. Okay, else, all we want to do is add one to the frame, or just go to the next frame. Now, what we also, in fact, nearly forgot that, we also want to set our elapsed time back to 0 again, otherwise this will just run once. So elapsed is equal to 0. Now if we go through that, so our delay was 200f, so every time the elapsed is greater than that, we're going to want to call this, if it's on the last frame, then we want to go back to the first frame, else just go to the next frame. And then reset the timer. Now this is where we need to change a little bit here so that we can capture the correct part of the image. So what we'll do is we know the width is 32, and if we times that by the frame number, we will get the part of the image that we want. So if it's 32 times 0, we're going to start with 0. If it's 32 times 1, we're going to start with 32. 32 times 2, we're going to get 64, and so on. and where were we? Yeah, and that will repeat itself. So that should work. I think that's it. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so now we've got our simple character walk into the right. It's a very simple animation. You can definitely improve this method. It's a very simple method. I'm going to do more tutorials on basically making this its own animation class, so we're going to have to refactor a lot. Also want to expand on it, taking different numbers of frames, being able to alter the delay of the animation speed. There's lots and lots of improvements to be made, but hopefully this will help to get a very simple animation working for a game. But please do comment on anything else you want to see. I always want ideas of what people want, and I will certainly do a video for it. I'm going to mainly do tutorials on 2D games because they're a lot easier and less time consuming at the moment, but I will be moving on to 3D, but it probably most likely won't be with XNA Game Studio. That will be with something else. So please do comment and subscribe, and I will be updating these videos every week, and it's always good to get your opinions. And also let me know if the text is easy to read. I'm just using a free screenomatic.com recorder at the moment, but obviously if the video is not good quality and you can't read the code, then there's no point, and I will upgrade to a better video camcorder and screen recorder. Okay, well thanks very much for watching. Have a good day.